Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to use ProjectLibre to do project progress tracking. Okay, so before we jump into ProjectLibre, I'd like to begin a fictitious project in Excel spreadsheet because doing so, we can have a much clearer understanding about what this project is look like, and then let's try to imagine, before we jump into ProjectLibre again, let's imagine what the project tracking is going to look like after 3-4 days after this project is started. Okay, so I started with this basic information here. Duration is indicated, preceding activity is indicated, resource and the cost per hour for each resource is indicated. You're gonna have to finish this part and this part. Okay, so we start this thing on April 7th. It's going to take 4 days. So without considering the weekend, okay? Meaning you do have to work over the weekend, okay? So since A is preceding activity for B and C, meaning that B and C can start on April 11th. It's the same here. It's the same here. Because duration is 3 and 4, so basically the end date is going to be +3. Okay. The starting date for activity D is going to be C because B and C are the preceding activities. Therefore, D can start when both activities are finished, which is April 15th. Okay, so because of 3 days. So you are looking at roughly 11 days. Okay, so the duration here is going to be the last day minus the first day. So your original duration here, if everything goes as planned, is going to 11 days. So how do you calculate total cost here? Okay, so let's assume this is going to be an 8-hour working day schedule. So you're looking at 120 hours for project A, 120 hours for activity A, and the cost per hour is 30. So you just have to multiply 4 days and 8 hours a day, $30 per hour. So that's for Jim and everybody. Okay, so this is our baseline plan. This is going to be what's being referred to as a baseline plan, and our budget at completion, or BAC. Our BAC is 4240. Okay, so this is your total planned value. This will be your planned value for each activity. Of course, we have to think about this in a time-phased fashion. So maybe let me show you. I have 11 blocks here, 11 columns here, represents 11 days, A, B, C, D, and so forth. So it's day 1, day 2, day 3. I may need another column here. So like this, okay? So A, starting on first day, so it's gonna last 4 days. So this will be what A look like. And for B, you begin at the end of day 4, so you're starting at the beginning of day 5. So first one is 3 days here. Then next one is going to be 4 days here. And this guy right here is going to be 3 days right here. So this is what your Gantt chart is going to look like. Okay, what the Gantt chart is look like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to report. I'm going to try to come up with a reporting scenario where we're trying to do a progress report on day 6. Okay, so on day 6, this means this is going to be what? Let me see. 23 plus day 6. Oops. Sorry. So let me just do a simple way. We're looking at 13th year. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, this is April 12th then. Sorry, made you confused. April 12th. So let's do a progress tracking on April 12th. So by the time, let's think about the planned value here. So let's think about the planned value. So planned value here on April 12th, which 6 days after project is started, you should have achieved 100% for activity A. Okay, so your planned value is 960. Therefore, the planned value for activity A on April 12th is going to be 960. Okay, 960. And for activity B, this is the second day, so it's going to be 2/3 of 960. Okay, 2/3 of 960. 960 original planned value here. Okay, this is your original planned value, 960. You have to multiply by 2/3. Why 2/3? Because 2 days out of 3 days. Therefore, you're expected to finish this much progress. For activity C, okay, activity C is going to be exactly half. So we are looking at 1600 times 0.50. So if what I'm doing here doesn't make sense to you, that means you lack up some basic understanding on the earned value system. So I urge you to go back and take a look at the lecture recording I posted in the learning management system. So this is what I have for now. What I have for now in terms of planned value. Let's say the actual happening here, I'm not using EV for now, just for A, B, oops, for those actual happening. I haven't recorded for a while, so I'm not not super comfortable working in front of a video camera at this point. So let's say A took 5 days instead of 4 days. Okay, so think about what that has what happened there. So if you took 5 days to finish A, that means you have finished here. Okay, so let me copy one more time here. So that means you had used another day here. So it did at the 6th day, your earned value has not changed because you have achieved 100% here. However, since you have used additional day, that means your budget, your actual cost has gone up by additional day. So I would say this is still on week 6. I'm sorry, this is still on day 6. So your EV here, 6th day. This is your AC here. So your EV has to be 100%, okay, because you already completed. Therefore, it's going to be same 960 here. However, your actual cost is going to be 5 days times 8 hours a day times 5 days, 8 hours a day times your hourly rate is $30. So this is going to be your actual cost. Then you know there's a bunch of things in earned value method where you can use to kind of evaluate what this means exactly. Okay, for activity B, let's assume that they have updated the new updated duration into 5 days because they figure that they cannot finish this on time. Okay, so your planned value should be 640. But if you have only finished, okay, let's say you only finished 40% of the work. So if you only finished 40% of the work, that means 40% of the planned value of 960. So this is what you have achieved as earned value, okay? And your actual cost at this point is going to be let's see, actual cost at this point is going to be, actual cost here is going to be, you have finished 2 days, okay? You're finished 2 days, $40 times 8 hours per day times 2 days. This is going to be your actual cost, okay? For this one right here, let's just assume this is on track, okay? So if it's on track, that means you have finished 50% of the 1600. Therefore, your earned value is going to be 50% 800, and then your actual cost, say, it's still going to be 800 because we are in the second day. Okay, 1600 times 50. I'm sorry, 50, not 20. Okay, for this guy right here, because this is a 6th day, therefore we don't have anything here. Okay, this is what we're gonna do in earned value. I'm sorry, what we're gonna do in Project Libre. So now you have a clear understanding about what this is gonna look like, what our baseline plan is, and what it's gonna look like in the day 6 situation. So start a new project. Make sure you start this with your last name and then go with the project, because you have to submit something that has your name on it. Please click OK. Before I do anything, I'd like to change the work schedule so that they don't really consider the weekend, meaning that we'd like to make them work without weekend, okay? Because all the classroom examples I have used so far didn't really consider the weekend. It's okay. It's not a big deal, but it's just gonna take additional effort to figure out why it looks like a duration is 6 days, even though we're planning to do it in 4 days. Okay, so let's see what I did. You click the weekday label here, and then go select non-default working time. That will help you eliminate the weekend. Now I think, let me double check. Now I think, let's try. Okay, so here I'm gonna start with a 1 project. This is your highest level. B, C, and D. Let's say we begin at April 7th. That's good. 4 days, 3 days, 4 days, 3 days. Okay. With that, we need to specify the preceding activities. So preceding for B and C are both A, which is row 2, 2. And preceding for D is row 3 and 4, because that's what we plan to do. Okay. Now we have a nice looking Gantt chart that does not consider the weekend. Okay, so let me see. Okay, this one doesn't look right. This is supposed to be the highest level, which is your deliverable level. That means we need to highlight 4 of them and then indent. Okay, we need to indent so that it's capturing the overall summary of this project activity. So this part of Gantt chart can be zoomed in and out, okay, to show the greater detail. This one showed you by day, okay, by day, and if you look at closely, you're looking at this as a 6 hours block, okay. That's what it is. What else I need to do? So let's assume, okay, we haven't assigned any resources here yet. So let's create our resource pool. Our resource pool is resources here. You're gonna put Jim, Larry, King, Clark, and cost per hour is going to be, let's use the standard rate column, 40. He's 50. This guy here is gonna be 30. Okay, with that, we're almost done. So we need to go back to our task and Gantt to start assign all those resources here. Assign Jim, assign who? Assign Larry here with activity B, assign King here to activity C, assign D with Clark. Okay, now we have assigned all the resources. Okay, so what we'd like to take a look at is the WBS icon. As you can see that all the all the cost here is calculated automatically based on the plan that we have entered. Okay, so those should be the exactly same number that we have looked at here. Okay, so then I'll go back to Gantt. So you may have noticed that the budget space is currently blank. Okay, that's because we haven't established a baseline plan. So if you are satisfied with the state, meaning that You like the way it is being planned. You have evaluated the feasibility of this schedule. You have evaluated technical feasibility of the schedule. You have also evaluated whether there is a resource conflict or not. So you have addressed everything here. You like this plan. You also have obtained client's green light on this particular plan. You'd like to see this is the way the project is going to pan out. If that is your state of mind, and we'd like to save that as a safe baseline, we'd like to save the current state as a baseline, because only when you have a baseline, then you can compare the actual progress with a baseline. Okay, with that, if you go back to WBS one more time, as you can see, the budget here have something filled in, which is exactly the same as your original cost plan. Okay, and then go back to Gantt. Another little differences that you can tell is without the baseline, there is no this gray line here at the end, at the bottom of each bar of the Gantt chart. So this gray bar here, I don't know if you can see this or not. This gray bar here, basically, is going to be the placeholder where kind of remind you where your baseline was as the project progress changes. Okay, so you'll see that later. So maybe I can, before I do it later, as you can see that as I undo the previous step, which is when I specify the baseline, that the gray, without specifying the baseline, that gray bar here are non-existing. Okay, but if you establish that as a baseline, the gray bar set to show up. Okay, so I think we are almost done with all the basic setup, and then let's figure out how to do progress tracking. Okay, so let's assume that we'd like to do progress tracking on here, April 12th as planned. This is 6 days after, this is at the end of 6 days after project has started. First day, second day, third day, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Okay, so we're supposed to have 100% of this completed, even though we have one day delay here. We're supposed to have 20% completed as opposed to 67%. Have 50% completed. And let's see how this ProjectLibre does that project tracking. Okay, so to do that, we need to specify our reporting date. Okay, so you go to File. Let's go to the, I believe it's information. No, maybe not. Let's go to Update. I'm sorry. So it is information. Here, status date is where you want to do the reporting. Okay, so let's say we want to do the status reporting on 12th. Let's close. Okay, before you hit close, if you did already, you just look at what I do here. So the green line here has now shifted to April 12th. So previously it was 7. Okay, so the green line here indicates your current progress reporting date. So I'm gonna do that on 12th here. So it's here. Let me take a look at something real quick. Okay, so we're good. So with that, let's start to working on status update. So if you're doing your status update or status reporting on April 12th, all the project activities that has happened before this particular date has to be updated. Okay, so that means we have to update A and B and C. If you have more activities here, we have to update all of them. Okay, so let's update one activity at a time, starting from activity A. So let's double click. No, sorry. Highlight activity A first, and then go to let's go to task, and then there is update. Make sure you highlight this, and then you click update. Okay, this is your task update information panel or dialog box. So actual start, let's put 7th. We actually started at April 7th. This is what you can document and you can observe. And then actual finish was 12th. Oops. So if you cannot click, no, you can click. So it actually took 5 days as opposed to original 4 days plan. So it has taken one additional day. Okay, so if you click close, So you would expect something has happened in the EVM system, right? So as you can see that the duration has extended by 1 day. It has extended further from our baseline plan. And also this dark black bar has penetrated throughout the activity A. This means we have completed 100%. Okay, so before I move into activity B, I'd like you to take a look at this part. Right click this particular block here, the empty cell on the corner. If you right click it, you can see multiple pre-built the table format here. Let's go with earned value. Okay, here is what you can observe, the earned value calculation. Okay, so you have activity name here. This is a BCWS. Okay, BCWS. So what is BCWS? So BCWS is actually the older version of the. This is the older earned value terminology. So BCWS is being referred is actually the acronym for budgeted cost for work scheduled. I know this is very long and lengthy. That's the reason why people later changed this into PV, very short and simple. Budgeted cost for work scheduled. Okay, so if you look at this video recording, I have that information indicated here. Okay, and for BCWP is budgeted cost for work performed. Therefore, this is your earned value. So ACWP is actual cost for work performed. Therefore, this is your AC. So you're looking at PV, EV, and AC. Okay, there are some people who are educated on the earned value method using the old terminologies. So some people like you guys are have learned this using the newer terminologies. But yeah, I encourage you to get familiar with both languages, both version of terminologies. Even though I may be using the simple terminologies on the exams, but in actual practices, you may actually encounter people that use this older terminology. Okay, because we let's look at the status for A. Because we have took additional day for activity A. As you can see that our planned value is 960 as is. And the earned value is 960, which is because we have achieved 100%. However, the actual cost-wise, it has increased to 1200 as we previously seen. And therefore, your cost variance, schedule variance has updated accordingly. And the your EAC, which is estimated cost at completion, estimated cost at completion is for this whole project is 1200. So because we haven't updated everything, so this doesn't make sense. So but we can observe this part as we go. Estimated cost at completion, that's EAC. BAC is a budget at completion. This is your total PV. Total PV is the same quantity as we've seen earlier. And the VAC is a variance at completion. This is a total cost difference. Total cost difference between planned and actual. Okay, so let's go back to our default panel and let's keep updating activity B because we haven't done that. So go to task tab and update. Let's update one more time. So for this one, like I said, we think at this point it's going to take 5 days instead of 3 days. Okay, so 5 days, and we have completed 20% as opposed to 67%. Okay, so therefore we're updating our progress like this for now because we're doing this on April 12th. If you're reporting April 13th, you may have a different status, but this is what we have. Let's click close. Okay, this is what I have here. So it doesn't show here anything, but again, you have to go back to your earned value to take a look at what happened in there. So okay, again, so this is earned value panel for activity B. As you can see that there are a lot of things doesn't quite make sense. Okay, so that's why this is interesting. Whenever something's interesting, there's something you can learn. Okay, so it's a 320, 192, so it doesn't quite make sense. So for example, I know that we kind of spread this thing to 5 days as opposed to 3 days. But our planned value at this point should be, what's our planned value at this point? Should be 640, okay? And the earned value should be 384, and your actual cost should be 640. But we're looking at things are exactly half, okay? Right? Exactly half. Your PV is half, actual cost is half, and then your EV is half. How come? So if it turns out that if you go back, if you remember what we did earlier, okay, go back to the default panel. So because our activity A has got delayed by 1 day, that pushed everything back. That kind of pushed everything by 1 day. So as you can see that this is a baseline starting point, but activity B actually started in April 12th because activity A was not finished until the end of April 11th. So you are expected to work on 2 days for activity B at this point, but in fact you only worked on this thing by 1 day only. So that's why you see such differences showed up here. You're supposed to work 2 days, but this is 1 day worth of PV, 1 day worth of EV, 1 day worth of actual cost. Okay, so if you keep pushing this all the way here, as you can see that your budget at completion originally was 960. This is consistent with the way we look at this. The whole activity was planned to be completed in 960. However, for now, because we have extended by 2 days, that has resulted this whole thing. Now it has total estimated at completion of 1600. Okay, so this is a little complicated with activity B because of many aspects. Number one, it got pushed because A was delayed. Number two, it got extended because you won't make enough progress. I can see that now this black bar only penetrated only very little at this point. Okay, very little at this point. This little is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 day out of 5 days. If you look at the percentage of completion is exactly 20%. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Now let's move on to activity C, which originally I believe was our critical activities, but now no longer it is a critical activity because we extended B by 2 days. Okay, so for C, let's give C some good news. For C, everything is on progress. Okay, so it has completed, let's say, 50% at this time. Let's click close. This is what we have with activity C. But what's interesting here is even though you're reporting in April 12th, the completion bar has extended all the way until the April 13th. This means your status in terms of schedule is ahead of schedule, which is a good thing. Okay, that's because activity C also got pushed because A got extended. So if you look at here, it has updated everything. So now, if you look at the highest level statistics, highest level summaries, it has included all 3 activities that we have reported. You can try to finish D as well. Update here 0%. So this is no change at this point. You can just go as is. Okay. Okay. Before I close this whole thing, I'd like to add a couple more columns here that are useful. So you know that there are a whole lot more indices available in EVM system, earned value management system. So I'm going to see what are some other variables that are available in here. So I'm going to add see, for example, you can take a look at here. There's a CPI, which is a cost performance index. So I'm gonna add this at the end, right? It can show you the CPI. You can also add SPI. Can show you add SPI. Go with SPI, Schedule Performance Index. What else are available there? I think there's a TCPI in there. TCPI, insert TCPI here. Okay. TCPI tells you, in order to complete this thing on track, on budget, how much progress you have to make for each dollar you're spending. So at this point, because A is already completed, so we can discuss the activity B. Okay, to complete this thing on budget, on schedule, for each dollar you are spending, you have to make $1.2 progress when it comes to the value. Okay, so if everything here makes sense to you, and I'll likely assign you an assignment where I'm going to ask you to report on a different timeline at this point. So I'm going to ask you to do a reporting based on April 15th. Okay, April 15th. The completion, all other information should have been provided in somewhere else. So once you're done, you can go to File. Okay, you can go to File and click Preview. You can click Preview, and you will see something like this. Okay, so what you need to submit is you need to submit whatever you're seeing here as a PDF. You can click this. It will help you save that as a PDF. It shows your name at the bottom, so I can see everything that I need here. You don't have to print it. You just have to save it using PDF as a reporting. It has more than 1 pages here, as you may have realized. It has the just save that earned value method preview tables as the submission document. So that's what I want from you. Okay. Again, other requirements should be listed somewhere else. So this concludes my demonstration on EVM in ProjectLibre. Thank you.